Good morning and happy Monday, everybody. I gotta take my glasses off so I can. I had to take my glasses off so I can see. It's a little confusing sometimes when I go from the tiny print over here up to the bigger screen. So happy Monday! I hope you guys had a wonderful week. Hope you had a great weekend. It's interesting because with the slowdown that we typically have this time of year, my weekends aren't bombarded with multiple appointments. Ron, for instance, was out and about. He was out looking over the weekend, told him to go to a few places. So he popped out, went to a few open houses. I showed a few homes over the weekend. But all in all, I spent several hours yesterday, late afternoon into the evening, actually wrapping Christmas presents. So I remembered having that conscious thought to myself going, it's kind of nice that there was a little bit of a slowdown because otherwise I don't know when or how I would get all of that part of the holidays done. The little details. So how did you spend your weekend? How did you spend your week? I hope you had a good one. For all of you, I don't know that we mentioned it last week. I'm sorry, but Eric had a birthday. His birthday was on Saturday. So, I don't think he didn't spend much. He didn't spend much of it out of the room. He was honestly not feeling well. Had chemo on Friday. Oh, these weeks are just so cuckoo crazy, and they keep changing things on us. So I don't remember where we are, where we left off. At any rate, he wasn't feeling really good on Saturday, so it was kind of a double whammy. Not feeling good because of the chemo, but then secondly, because it was his birthday. So I'm sure he would have rather been out and about and up and celebrating and feeling good. But at any rate, so anybody that I may have missed, I think a few of you popped on since then. So good morning, good Monday morning. Hope you guys had a good week. So ours was busy, lots going on. Like I said, to be honest, I tend to get lost in where we are and what happened. So I'm just going to assume it was a typical week for us. I know I did a lot of prepping for Christmas, again, just kind of going through my lists and checking them twice, and making sure that I had the gifts and were they in, were they ordered, where were they? Did I only think I ordered them? Has that ever happened to you? Because it has absolutely happened to me where I've thought I ordered it and then I go back and I can find no trace of an order confirmation or a receipt or anything. So still trying to tune those last little bit of details. We've still got 2 weeks, I guess, before Christmas. It's on a Wednesday this year. Is that right? I think it's on a Wednesday. So that's okay. That's kind of nice, actually, I think. It's better than it being on a Saturday because then people get a little bit more time off of work. But yeah, so just got a couple weeks. But as always, we want to take advantage of the time that we have while we've got it. So I figured yesterday was a good day for me to tackle all of the presents that have been stashed in the Pilates room. Yes, we have a Pilates room in the house. Clearly, I need to use it more. I need to visit it and introduce myself again. But that's where I've been stashing all the presents. So anytime the kids are here, I'm like, that room's off limits. Anyway, all right, guys, we're going to get going. So many of you have popped in. Geraint, good to see you. Greg, good to see you too. Susie Q, always happy to see you. A few of you have popped in. Anybody that's watching that's not commenting, like our friend Sandy. I know Sandy, we also call her Tutu in our family. She tends to, I guess, catch an episode every once in a while. But usually I don't think she watches it live. So hello to Sandy. And anybody else that's watching, again, we appreciate you guys. All right, let's get going to our brewing topics. We have lots to talk about, as always. Okay, so our topics are Opendoor is back. Are you intrigued? Never give up. That's right. Never give up. Multiple meanings here in our life at the moment. And closing dates. So these are some topics. Honestly, we kind of pull them from what happened, what transpired over the weekend, whether it's a conversation with the client, whether it's something that happened with the client, or if it's just kind of real estate news in general, maybe things that are happening here in this area. But these I thought were pretty good ones to pop in. And by the way, thank you. You're all talking about my hair. So those of you that don't know me from Virginia, this is really Amy from Virginia hair. You can't do this hair in Florida because of the humidity, because I did this when I first moved here. I was, because I'm old school, right? I mean, so I curl my hair. But the humidity here, like literally by the time I'd finish one side, this side, like it would already be flat. So years ago, once we were here, I gave up trying to curl it and give it any sense of style or body. So, but I did it today because number one, we don't have a lot of humidity. And number two, I put it up in a wet. And if you've ever put your hair up wet in a clip, you know how bumpy it all is. So this was me camouflaging it. So anyway. All right, guys. So our topics again. So the first brewing topic is Opendoor is back. So if you're not aware of what Opendoor is, I always say Opendoor, honestly, I don't hate it. I don't like it, but I think that it is a great option for people who are in a desperate situation. And candidly, there are people that can be in a desperate situation. Eric's phone's ringing. Is it important? You want to go take it? Okay. Still waiting for phone calls that could be important. Opendoor. So first of all, they have really ramped up their advertising. So that can be indicative of a few things, right? They're sensing the market and they're trying to take advantage of some of that. They are usually, however, this is what's important to know. If you have not ever explored or had a conversation about Opendoor, it's important to note that a lot of things look good on the outside until you dig a little bit deeper, until you get those actual final numbers, not the initial numbers, not the first final numbers that you get. The first final numbers you get are like, okay. And then all of a sudden you get the final numbers. So usually on average, 10 to 15% lower price for an Opendoor purchase. Now, think about even in the scenario where real estate commissions were 6%, 3 and 3 for the buyer agent, 3 for the listing agent, which we don't really see that as much anymore, although in some places we do. 6% is still a heck of a lot less than 10 to 15%. So for people who are considering Opendoor just because they don't want to deal with a realtor, you're kind of shooting yourself in your foot, because a realtor's commission and the advertising and the marketing and the knowledge that they're able to provide you without trying to stick it to you and get it way under market value, you're going to do a lot better in the long run. Also, there are additional repair fees and more that happens with Opendoor. So a lot of times Opendoor, now here's where it's good. Okay, so here's where it's good, because I'm all about trying to find that positive, right? So here's what's good. If you are truly, sorry, cough still there from COVID. If you are truly in a desperate situation, and that could be desperate for many reasons. Maybe there's a death in the family and the estate has been left to the kids. The kids just don't want anything to do with it. They just need to get it done and they want to be done. There's a lot of different life scenarios, personal scenarios where you just might be in a desperate situation. Maybe you just don't have the time to get the home on the market with a realtor, handle the showings, go through that whole process. Because with Opendoor, it is a guaranteed sale. So that's what's nice about it. If you are desperate, they will buy your house. Now, I don't work for Opendoor, and I'm sure there's a lot of rules. There's probably a lot of hurdles. So I'm not speaking on their behalf in any way, shape, or form. So if you are interested at Opendoor, that's something you need to do your own due diligence and have a lot of conversations with them and understand that you may not get the full story at the beginning of the conversation because they want to reel you in. And then once they get you, there's, we got to, repair fees, and then sometimes they don't even make the repairs. They charge you for them, but they don't make them. I've seen that happen in houses multiple times. But again, if you are in a desperate situation, if you need that guaranteed sale, if the overall net from the proceeds of the sale of the home are not high on your list of priorities, and there's a convenience factor. We talk about that convenience factor a lot, right? If you're building a pool, do you build it with the builder? Do you build it afterwards? There's a convenience factor if you build it at new construction while you're building your home. It doesn't mean your pool's any nicer, it just means you paid more for it, but there was a convenience fee. So in this case, it's the opposite. You don't make as much money, but it sure was convenient just to be able to sign a piece of paper and know that your home was sold. So curious if any of you have ever had an experience with Opendoor. I know that I have shown a lot of Opendoor houses. I have sold Opendoor houses. They definitely make the process of purchasing it a little bit more difficult as well, especially if, from the buyer agent side of it, a lot more rigmarole, as my grandmom used to say, a lot more rigmarole you have to go through, specific paperwork, specific disclosures, portals. The acceptance period is different for them. So it's kind of a whole different ball of wax. But if you are in a desperate situation, it is an option. So hopefully none of you are desperate enough that you're willing to sacrifice 4 to 9%, if I did my math right, which I probably didn't, based on how they typically purchase those homes under market value. So anyway, anybody over here done anything with Opendoor? If you have, let me know, because I'm curious as to what your experience is. Okay, now the second brewing topic is never give up. Now I am talking about real estate, but I think that's a good life lesson to learn as well. Is just don't give up, because we had a wonderful, eventful weekend with a listing that I had that was, in fact, you guys remember, we did coffee time from their bar. Do you remember the beautiful Dream Finders home? It was the Arlington with the super bonus, and that is what it's called. I'm not just, being all frilly. It is actually called the Arlington with the super bonus is the name of that floor plan. It is fantastic, primarily a one-story floor plan. It was gorgeous. We did the video tour of it. Again, they had a full bar upstairs. As a reminder, that bar was made possible because that home actually has the opportunity for multi-generational living. And that bar area where the plumbing and the electrical was hooked up could have been a second kitchen. So you really could have had a whole second floor that was kind of self-sufficient. There's even a closet that could have been a second laundry room. So anyway, finally went under contract. Now I've had several listings lately, because we've had, I think at one point in time we had like 9 listings all active at the same time. Most of them sold, but a handful did not. And they actually went to an expired status. And I tell you this because I do well, right? I know what I'm doing, but I'm not perfect. I can't control the market. I can't, in a magic ball, create that buyer out there that wants to buy your home at that time for that price. We just can't do it. We really are subject to things that we don't have any control over. And the houses that did not sell were amazing houses, and they were priced well. But for whatever reason, there was something that just kind of kept someone from purchasing. In some cases, it was because there was way too much new construction options right around the corner. And it's hard to beat the builder incentive when they're offering, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 flex cash. And my seller just couldn't do that. There's also been situations where the builder themselves undersold their final inventory, which kind of tanked things for people. Others, they just were not open to, to having open houses, and it made it more difficult to get people in. So there's a lot of things that we can't really control. That means that, but never give up, because that home, my friends, are you ready for this? It came in with a cash offer closing on December 27th. So Christmas miracle for that family, absolutely. They had already purchased and closed and are now, moved into and living in their new home in the Orlando area, a little bit closer to the downtown nightlife. But just super exciting. So never give up is my point. It can still happen. If you are frustrated with the lack of activity on your listing, wherever you are across the country or out of the country, things can happen. So just don't give up. Understand that sometimes it's not going to work out and we have to make some adjustments. Sometimes we have to get into that desperate situation. Maybe we have to drop the price again. Excuse me. But in this case, it really did come through. So we're super excited for them. So we're super excited. So Jane says, congrats to the family. Yeah, they are really thrilled. And candidly, it wasn't really that much. So this is the way this one works. So for those of you who wonder sometimes how real estate works. So we have, so in this case, we had a showing. The feedback. Thank you, realtor, on the other side of this for providing feedback. Now, if you're not sure what that is or how that works, let me explain it, because it is incredibly important and it is one of the most frustrating pieces of real estate that, again, we can't really control if that other realtor on the other side of it gives us any feedback. So built into our showing time or into the MLS, into the showing scheduling system that we utilize, they are automatically prompted after they show the home. Sometimes we get the prompt before we've even shown the home, but you get the prompt that says feedback request. And there's like 5 questions. It's not that hard, realtors. Fill it out. All you have to do is, your client interested in the property, not interested, moderately interested, or very interested. There's, what do you think of the price? Just right, too low, too high. Okay, well, everyone's going to put too high, but whatever. And then just a couple of other questions. Are you okay, baby? Daisy's back there coughing too. But there's only a few questions, and a lot of realtors just don't have time, and I get it. You know, we're still out driving our clients around. We get that feedback request. We're not able to do it. So you miss it the first time. You're prompted again a little bit later. The system automatically sends you another, hey, feedback request for the showing that you just had. So they get several of those feedback showings. Now, on my end, as the realtor, I always personally will text that realtor as well, saying, hey, thanks. Well, actually, as soon as they request a showing, I text that realtor and just confirm again, hey, I just confirmed your showing for tomorrow at 1:30 at ABC Street. Home is on Super ELB. If you need a coded lockbox, it's blah, blah, blah. Please let me know if you have any questions. I always make that point of contact, always. And then I will follow up via that same text directly to that agent. Now, in this case, what was interesting is the agent's phone number that came through showing time was not her phone number. It was like an old number. So I was trying to communicate with her that way, and she was never responding. And I called, and then it said, this phone is out of order or something like that. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll have to email her. So anyway, she liked the house. The clients liked the house. So we, it's like, absolutely. We love that they love the home, and she's like, well, they'd like to see it again. It's between this house and another house. And so they came back, they saw it again. And ultimately my clients and I decided, you know what, we're going to propose an offer to them, because at this point we have someone who is truly very interested in the property and we don't want to lose them. And so we came at them with a verbal offer and said, hey, look, your clients are cash buyers. If they're interested in the home, the sellers are willing to accept this for the house, and approach them with that number. They came back, they saw it again, they showed the kids. They came in a little bit under, but that was okay because it was still within our wiggle room. And voila, went under contract on Saturday, I believe it was, on Eric's birthday. So his birthday wasn't all bad. He mojoed out a good sale for us. I was like, what? I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what it was. I was like, what is happening? Are we having an earthquake? Good one, honey. But yeah, so happy about that. So never give up. Okay. Never give up. I know it can be frustrating. It can be daunting. It can just be infuriating because you're sitting there scratching your head, wondering, why is my house not showing, or why is it not getting any offers? And there's just some things that we can't control. I mean, we can control pricing, but it's in my opinion, it's never worth it to go so far under property or market value of the home to sell it, unless you really need to sell it. If it's like, I'd like to sell it, I'd like to move. And we have a lot of clients that's kind of their situation. Now, on that note, I'm just going to mention this real quick and then we'll scooch on to our last topic. Speaking about listings, I do have a new listing that's coming up this week, and it is amazing. It is the Dorchester floor plan by MI Homes, and it's at Encore at Ovation. Absolutely beautiful. And the backyard view is stunning. There's a balcony upstairs. The primary is on the first floor. Upstairs are 3 more bedrooms. One is an ensuite. And then there's a giant game room, and the game room or bonus room has a balcony off of it that's screened in, and it looks to pond, to land, to pond. It is absolutely gorgeous. So that home is going to be listed just under $790. And it's barely a year old, like literally their 1 year just happened. So a lot of people ask, and then I promise I'm gonna move on to the third topic. A lot of people wonder why, especially around here, they're like, why are they selling their house? They've only been there a year. The house is not even a year old. we don't understand what people are going through. You know, those messages and those memes or those reels or those TikToks or the whatever it is that's out there that says, you know, be kind. You don't know what somebody else is going through. And that can be the case, you know, and in this case, it's a family health situation of a very dear loved one back from where they came from up north. And it was more important to them to get back, to be with that loved one. So that's why it's as simple as that. They just want to get back and spend time with that loved one. So they were supposed to be leaving on Wednesday. They texted me yesterday and said, we're leaving on Tuesday. So after coffee time today, I'm going to go put the sign in the lockbox, and then that's going to be going active later this week. So that's a beautiful one. So we'll show you some pictures of that once we get those taken. All right, third brewing topic, closing dates. All right, guys. So closing dates. Da-da-da-da-da. Oh, by the way, this was the house that sold. I didn't realize Eric could put the picture up there. Yeah. So this is the house that finally went under contract. Do you remember that bar? What's it called? Schmetzer's? That was the bar where we had coffee time that day. Dear friends of ours too, by the way, love them. So super, super, super excited for them. But yeah, so closing dates. Gosh, glasses. Okay, so I was never give up. Where's closing dates? Oh, that one does say closing dates, but anyway, all right, let's move on. All right, so closing dates. So here's something that is important, and this is an example of kind of something that happened recently, because again, I pull from real life, real scenarios. So we had some clients that closed on a property, our contracted closing date. And my clients were the buyers. So they purchased, we submitted a contract or submitted an offer. Offer was accepted. This was the beginning of November. So our closing date was contractually written for December 4th, right? That was what we were all agreeing to. That's what the sellers were agreeing to. That's what the buyers agreed to. This is the date that we then sent to the lender so that the lender knows to prepare all of the loan documents by that date. And that's also the date that the title company is working toward. Now, we had Thanksgiving in there. And from my client's perspective, they really, really, really wanted to close before Thanksgiving. That would have been fantastic. Fantastic. But we can't just change a closing date because we want to, because we are not the only ones involved. Now, the sellers have to make sure that they're in a position to either move out sooner, or are they available to sign sooner because they have to sign their documents, right? They may not be, they're also working toward that December 4th closing date. There are, again, the loan people, they're working on things. They're ordering surveys, and they're ordering appraisals, and they're ordering these things, again, working toward that contractual closing date. So we asked if we could maybe potentially close sooner. Is it even a possibility? The lender's like, well, we'll try, but we don't really know. We didn't really mention anything yet to the sellers because we needed to know, we needed to tie up ends on our end first. So the whole point of this is that there was a lot of confusion and frustration toward the end of this closing because the buyers wanted to close before Thanksgiving. Totally understandable. We could have done it. Everybody would have, but it wasn't feasible. But because of that, there was an expectation that, well, we want to close earlier, so we should just be able to close earlier, right? And we weren't. As it turned out, we weren't. We were actually scraping at the very end of the barrel to try to get it closed on time. There was just I think they changed something loan-wise at the last minute, which just kind of just created a little bit of a speed bump, not a problem. But at any rate, so my point is, when it comes to closing dates, understand that you have a contractual closing date. Make sure, if you are the buyer, make sure that you are looking at that offer that you and your realtor are submitting. That date is right there. Don't just go automatically signing into the spots where it's requesting your signature or your initials. Make sure you also agree with that closing date. Look at the calendar, because from my end, I'm going 30 days out because it takes about 30 days to close. We're like, hey, we're contracting on November 4th. Okay, December 4th is the middle of the week, so we can close then. So make sure that you're looking at that date, you're looking at your calendar, and that you are also aware that that's a good date for you, and work toward that date. That's important. And understand that there's a lot more moving pieces involved behind the scenes than just oh, can we close sooner? It's not always that easy. Now, speaking of closing sooner, do you remember where I said a minute ago, don't give up? Those clients are cash buyers. They just contracted on the 7th and they're closing on the 27th. That's 20 days. That's 10 days less than a normal closing. And the reason they can do it is because it is a cash offer. So we have all of the loan and the underwriting. We don't have to deal with any of that. Hallelujah. So that makes it a lot easier. We don't have to order an appraisal. There's a lot of things that really just kind of cleared a lot of those speed bumps. So that convenience factor, my friends, the convenience factor for accepting this cash offer in this particular scenario, not always, but in this scenario, the convenience factor is why my clients were willing to accept a little bit less for the property, because they had a huge convenience factor. So anyway, all right. So I've been missing anything happening over here. I haven't even been looking at the messages to the side. Eric says he can't talk, but he loves everybody. I know. I just didn't know if there was anything. All right, let me do a quick thing. Oh, Kim, exciting. Kim says our pool dig starts this week. That's exciting. Who's doing it? You can either tell everybody or you can just text me later. I'm curious, and send pics. I love it. Oh my gosh, Kim is very excited. Oh, that's so exciting. And it'll be done like right in time for you to be able to use it. Oh, that'll be nice. Geraint says, Eric, Daisy needs her treats. Yeah, these dogs, I tell you. Allie, I love my daughter. If you're feeling like the Christmas spirit, consider giving the stream a like. She's a smarty. Now I will tell you, I had COVID last week and I am so sad. Alyssa and Hong and baby Easton all had COVID. In fact, I think they might still have COVID. Allie, you can tell me if you guys are testing negative yet. But just crushing me because I don't know how I got it. I don't know how I spread it. But obviously, it was Thanksgiving, so I was around everybody. But that just devastates me. But they're doing a little bit better, I think. Kim says Southern Paradise Pools. Okay, cool. Hey, here's the thing. I've never had any experience with them. So if you'll do me a favor as a trusted friend and client, let me know how your process goes with them. Because I love when people ask me, hey, do you know this? Or do you know of somebody who can do this? Or do you know a pool company? I go from experience or from a client's experience. So please let me know how that process goes with them. I would love that. Miss Michelle. Miss Michelle is here and she says, late to the party, but good morning, Kidwell family. Well, good morning, Miss Michelle. I love you. I miss you. We have to talk. Rob, I'm assuming you're saying that because of COVID. Rob, how are you feeling, by the way? We think about you all the time as well, making sure you're doing well. Allie says we haven't tested yet today, but we are still positive as of yesterday, but they feel a lot better. That makes me happy. Yeah, yesterday I had to go run a quick errand. Our dogs and cat were on the... Okay, well, like for real, they were on the end of their dog and cat food where it was mostly the crumbs. That's what I had to give them yesterday. So I went to PetSmart to pick up some pet food. And while I was there, I asked them if they needed any more for Ginny and Zoe. And they said, actually, yes, they did. So I grabbed them some and then I dropped it off at their house. And so I was able to get a sneak peek. I couldn't smooch on anybody, but I did get to see Easton. He came out. So they looked like they were feeling a little bit better. But, it's always rough when you have COVID and it just takes forever. Miss Michelle says she loves you more. Not possible. And Kim will give us information on that. Okay. All right. Let's move ourselves on along then. Where am I? Let's do, you know what? I'm going to go with what I'm watching because I want to talk about this. Okay, I know. I am so late to the party on this movie, but I watched it by myself the other day. I was feeling a little down, not gonna lie. I was just feeling a little bummed. Like there's just the house without kids around it or in it is a little sad. It's a little lackluster, I guess is a good way. So I decided that the other night I'd had honestly, it was a busy day of work and it's same thing with eating. It's like, those of you that probably know, like cooking for one or finding something to eat for one, when I don't really care to eat anyway, I would much rather not have to ever eat. I don't enjoy it, but obviously Eric isn't eating, so I don't have to worry about making us dinner. And so I was a little bummed. So I was like, okay, well, I think I ordered myself, I think that was the night I ordered some Chinese food. I think it was. So I ordered myself some Chinese food, some sesame chicken and some chicken fried rice. Yes, I did. And I came up here into the media room and I lit the Christmas tree and I lit the Christmas candle that you see sitting back there. And I sat over here and I was like, well, I'm just going to find a Christmas movie to watch. And I had not seen Spirited, and I should, because it's got all the right people. And it is like this musical and it is right up my alley, but I've never seen it until the other day. And it was absolutely amazing. So I know I'm really late to the party, but if you have not seen that, you should absolutely see it. I love it. I love talented people and I love musicals, and isn't it fun? And it's just, whenever you see those big production numbers, it's like, I just want to go back to who I was. Anyway, TC, first I thought it was Terry Clark, but it's not. It is Scott and Tanya in Reno. I am so excited for you guys. I'm so excited. So I have to call, I'm calling Anthony here shortly after we do this. Susan says, I can't believe it took you so long. They watch it over and over again. It's tapping. It's your thing. Yeah, I know. This still makes me sad. Elizabeth, Elsie just woke up and gave you a big Mimi smile. Yay. I love it. All right. Sounds good. Okay. So let me do this. Erica's motioning over here. So let me find what do you want me to do? Scoop? All right. Okay. All right, I'll do Scoop. All right, last week we talked about the new Anytime Fitness that was coming in the Hamlin area, and now Hamlin Groves Trail is going to have karate. I can't see the name of it's right there it's on the sign. Sign's already there. Something karate, Domino's Pizza, a tropical smoothie, hallelujah, Erica's in heaven, and massage. I think I might have to figure out if I should go do a massage. Very excited about this. Again, this place is just booming. It is very exciting. So we love it when we see that these businesses are coming here and investing in not just in our area, but in our community. And I really do feel like it is our community. So love this in the Hamlin area. Okay, let's do an Eric update. So Eric's update, glimmer of Miami hope, no voice, and a rough birthday. All right, so the glimmer of hope. You don't want to talk, right? You can't talk. Okay. So we received a message from the liver specialist yesterday. Actually, it was on a Sunday morning. And he had been gone over the week, which was a little frustrating for us because he had already reached out to someone in Miami, had actual communication, and they were supposed to be reviewing Eric's files and his case and results and tests and things, and they were supposed to get up with us. Now, we know this is a rather urgent situation. It's pretty timely. We need some communication. So we were a little frustrated that all week we kept expecting to hear something, and then found out that our liver specialist here in Orlando was away for the week. So a little bummed. But he did respond yesterday morning and had said a couple other little things, but basically gave us the specific name of the transplant surgeon that he spoke with, and suggested that we call them, reach out to their transplant team and let them know that we were expecting an appointment. So Eric has really latched on to that part of that message, because for us, that glimmer of hope means that, wait, are we going to have an appointment? Have they said, yes, bring him here, let's schedule an appointment? So that's what we're going to work on today. As soon as coffee time is over, we're going to reach out to Miami, to their transplant team, and see what information we can find. Secondly, no voice. So he still has zero voice. It's probably one of the most frustrating things for him, because not only, and I'm going to speak for him, but I'm not speaking for him, if you know what I mean. From what I gather, it's very isolating to be so exhausted, to be so truly fatigued that you decide whether or not it's worth it for you to get up to go to the bathroom, or if it's worth it for you to get up to walk into the kitchen, because you are so exhausted. And that's one thing to deal with. A second thing to deal with is not feeling well, other than the exhaustion, to not feel well at all from the chemo. And then the mouth is just a hot mess, and not being able to, to eat. We're still just on the liquids, but then to not have a voice and to not be able to communicate that is it's just got to be isolating and just probably one of the worst parts of it. So he is here. He is beside me right here. He can't speak. And on that note, that is part of why he had such a rough birthday, as we talked about earlier on in the show, his birthday was Saturday, but he had chemo on Friday. And, I guess they say that as chemo progresses, it can make you feel worse as it goes. So that is our Eric update, but, we will keep you updated. And yes, we are, we are so grateful and so appreciative of all of your love and your kindness and your comments and your messages and your cards and your everything that you guys are doing. We promise we will keep you updated. So as I say every week, we're going to have high hopes for this week that we're going to get some news. And hopefully next Monday, we don't just kind of go, oh, well, so we didn't get any information. It'll be another week, because we are just really, really hoping to get some good news, some positive news, so that we can to get things going for us. Okay, so you said baby. We have some baby news. Well, news, but. Okay, so is there one picture or two pictures? That was the one. Okay. I didn't see the pictures before we started. So Elizabeth, so Allie and Hong and Easton, as we said, they have COVID, so they were not able to come visit on Saturday for Eric's birthday. But Elsie, thankfully, Elizabeth, Elsie, and Steele have stayed clear of COVID. So they brought Miss Elsie over on Saturday for a quick little visit and had this cute little onesie that says, "I love my Poppy." So Elsie came by to visit and give her Poppy a little gift and a picture. She's just the sweetest thing. I just tell you, these kids are everything. I love it. It's just so cute. And there's a cute little wooden thing that she got for Eric too, that Poppy, and a little definition of Poppy in it. And I love seeing these kiddos, that Elsie, who's this teeny tiny little petite thing like her mama, it's like you looked at when we were looking at her the other day, her like legs, they're getting her thighs are getting a little chunky. So she's starting to do the growing out. You know how they grow up and then they grow out, then they grow up and then they grow out. She's starting to grow out a little bit. So she also is a brilliant. I cannot wait. Now, Allie, you need to send me some of these pictures and videos of Easton, because I want to share those too. But Elizabeth will FaceTime me almost every night for a few minutes, just so I can get an Elsie fix. It also helps her, I think, kill the time before bedtime for Elsie, because at that point, I'm sure they are absolutely exhausted, and having a little 10-15 minute FaceTime with Mimi will kind of refocus Elsie. But Elsie is doing that. It was like a military crawl where she like takes her arms and she's learned to roll over, put her arm and pull forward, and roll an arm and pull forward. It's absolutely hysterical. So anyway, it's fun to see these kiddos grow and just kind of, they're just so stinking smart and so beautiful. Susan says Maddie is very excited to see Miss Elsie. Yes, I know. Like, we'll have a little Easton Elsie Maddie party again. You guys have to come visit again. And Kim, sorry, but the American healthcare system is broken. People need decisions and actions in a much more timely fashion. This is what. Yeah, even with creaking NHS in the UK, cancer referrals are fast-tracked, and there is no debate over insurances. We don't have that in the way you do. I know this is, I keep saying, where is the advocate? I thought there either was or could be or should be, and maybe it's just supposed to be us, but somebody that is nuanced, and that's the word. I can be an advocate for Eric. I can make phone calls. He can be an advocate for himself, and he can make phone calls. But who is that person with the nuanced inside understanding of the healthcare system that is there to kind of help go, hey, you're allowed to go on vacation, but before you go on vacation, we need to be following up on this, because we don't have an extra week to just, let it poof off into the distance. We need to attack this tumor now. And insurance, by the way, just as a little side note, and then I promise we're going to get back to real estate. It's not funny. Hopefully it'll be funny because we'll get this remedied today. But the other day, Eric we had confirmed that he was off of our insurance so that he could have the other insurance that Mayo and all the other big hospitals will take. And they were just supposed to remove him from that policy and keep myself and my youngest son, Dawson, on it. Turns out when they canceled him, they canceled ours too. So we haven't had insurance over the weekend and then like 3 hours worth of phone calls, multiple people, no one ever said, hey, if you cancel or if you take Eric off of the policy, there is no policy because he was the primary. So it is absolutely broken. It is absolutely a mess, and they would not reinstate it. And so it was, so Aetna Insurance, don't use them. Anyway, all right, moving on. CJP, yes, there should be a liaison social worker. I agree. I really do. I would, if I were younger, like if I could start my journey over again, that would be something I would find great reward in. The passion is definitely there. So I would do that. All right, let's move on. Let's find another word of the day.
Oh, now come on, Amy, tell me what's the word.
Okay, deposit. Now, guys, I know. We have talked about this a lot. You should know what a deposit is at this point. But remember, not everybody has purchased a home before. Not everyone fully understands what the deposit is, where it goes, who gets it, and what is that amount. So just understand, when you do a deposit, now in the very beginning, and let's talk resale first. Okay, we're going to do resale because that's what most people buy is a resale home. If you are pre-approved with a loan and you're doing a conventional loan, okay, and your conventional loan, you're going to do, you're borrowing 80% and you need to be able to put down 20%. If you purchase a resale home and we do a 1% or a 2% or a 3% earnest money deposit, that money is being held in escrow at the title company. They're holding it. If you were putting 20% down and you put 3% down as your earnest money deposit, then you only owe 17% when you go to closing. If it's 1% that you put down and your loan structure is that you're going to put a 20% down on it, you've already paid 1%, so now it's 19%. Now, if you were to do new construction, and you, same thing, right? Same thing. You're doing a conventional loan. You're putting down 20%, but the builder requires that you put 5% down or 10% down. That is going toward those prepays. That is going toward that initial amount that you're bringing to closing. So it's not extra. And I think that's what a lot of people think. They're like, oh, it's like extra, like this deposit is like extra money that I have to have. No. It's money that you should probably theoretically already have accessible. This is just going toward that bigger number that you have to pay once you go to closing. So instead of bringing 20% at closing, if you've already paid 5% to the builder, now it's 15% because you already gave them 5%. So I know that sounds pretty basic and pretty easy, but it can be confusing, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. And there's a lot of people that are adults way into their lives that are purchasing their first home. Or they never dealt with it because maybe their spouse was the one that did it. Or maybe they were willed a home from a family member or something. And so they've never purchased one themselves. So understand that your earnest money deposit and your deposit is all of that is being held in escrow at the title company, and all of that is going to go toward your prepaids. If again, whatever that loan structure is that you're doing with your loan officer, with your mortgage company. And by the way, FHA. So an FHA is usually 3.5% down. FHA loans, first time home buyers. If you have a smaller amount that you have to bring to closing, and this is the way that first time home buyers can be assisted through this type of a loan, is you don't have to have as much money up front to get into the house. So let's use that same scenario. You're a first-time home buyer. We buy a resale home. We put down 1% as our earnest money deposit. Well, now you only have 2.5% that you have to bring to closing. So anyway, so hopefully that helped clarify it if you didn't already know. Wishes. Eric says wishes. Wishes. Okay, so we are super excited. Scott and Tanya, I hope you are still here. I didn't want to spoil it, but so first of all, Christina closed on her townhome. Super excited for her. She is just loving it. And by the way, I can't wait once she gets her little business set up. She's going to have some wonderful Disney related products that she's going to be able to showcase and sell. So we'll be happy to help her out. Scott and Tanya from Nevada are closing on their home. We are hoping possibly, potentially this week. I don't know if we'll be able to make it happen, but home is ready. They are ready. And they are able to close, by the way. Again, this is where a mobile closing or a RON, which is a remote online notary, a mail away, all of these different terms for you being able to close wherever it is that you are and not being able to close if you're not able to close here in person. So hopefully going to get them set up. And Josh and Michelle, the house with the bar in it, super excited for them that it finally went under contract. And we just hope that stays right on track and we get that closed here in just a couple of weeks. Anything else, Eric? Let's see. Do we have weather? We do have weather. We have weather. All right. So here is the weather. Now I have to tell you, I turned off the heat because we had the heat on for about a week. Like we had the heat on, like usually in Florida, it gets like maybe a day, like you have to turn it on just to kind of warm it up and take the chill out. We had the heat on for about a week. I don't know that it was running, but it's been pretty stinking cold here. But now we're starting to get a little bit back to some Florida weather. Great weather to go out and enjoy the parks. Kind of perfect weather if you ask me. 79, 81, 75, 61, 71, 73. And then honestly, in the evenings overnight, it's really going to only dip to like 42. And that's on Thursday. So this is kind of ideal weather. This is great Florida weather. This is the weather where you open up the windows, you open up the sliders, and you let that screened in lanai just kind of bring in all that fresh air. So we're excited about that. If you're coming to Disney or to Universal or to just Florida in general, you're going to have a beautiful week for that. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I think that is about it. Eric is struggling over here. We're going to get him back in bed. He really appreciates all of you guys. This is an event for him to be able to get up here and to do coffee time. But it really is a great reminder. And personally, I think it's a great pick-me-up that he needs to be reminded that so many of you are constantly thinking of him and praying for him. So thank you, everybody. And as always, we are going to end it a little bit. Well, it's not that early. You hear Maggie back there? What is she doing? Maggie. All right, guys, I'm going to go rescue the dogs for whatever it is that they found over there. All right, guys. So as always, please stay safe, stay well. Remember, we love you guys. I will keep you updated. Hopefully we'll see you here again next Monday for coffee time. And we love you guys with all our hearts. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye.